How's it going, Johnny?
It's going good. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. It's been busy. I hope you're busy too. And it's good to be busy.
Yeah, it's busy right now, but it's curious to see what the next week's going to be holding for us with this new vaccine passport coming out in Ontario now today.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, so far it hasn't affected me business-wise because our business doesn't have to have the vaccine passport. It does affect me volunteering right now for the local TV station because you have to be fully vaccinated apparently now to be in the studio or to do anything volunteer-wise for them on location or mobile.
So you're in a crossroads.
Yeah, so
Crazy times, man. I was going to say we've lived in crazier, more dystopian times, but no, we haven't. This is as dystopian as it gets. So hopefully it all works out.
yeah.
But in the meantime, if there's anything I can do to help you out, let me know. And I hope that there's a solution for you and that you can continue running your business unhampered with freedom.
So far, like I said, it's not hampering my business yet because I don't need to see passports to come into my studio. It hasn't affected photography studios yet.
Yeah.
And even like I'm getting ready to ramp up my advertising probably in the next week or two for the Christmas special we do in November. And it shouldn't affect it at all because it's not technically an event. It's just 30-minute family portrait sessions.
Yeah.
I look at it. It's not really an event.
So in the meantime, I want to talk publicity. Before we get into publicity, though, I just want to bring up a Photoshop query and situation and ask you and for anybody else who may be listening or watching if they have any sort of... I'll tell you what my solution is and if we can get a little bit thing going. Twice this has happened. Last week it happened once and it just happened today. You know the glasses we photograph, people with glasses, they seem to have very little glare on them. So it's really cool because the glasses back from the 80s used to be really troublesome. And I use a lot of reflectors on the bottom to create that extra kicker fill into the face. It's a nice look. And the glasses don't seem to be hampered by that. But I don't know if it's some change or if it's me or whatever it is. But there's a coloration now that goes into where the reflection would normally be.
Yeah, there's a coating now on the glasses. It's for, because I got them with mine now. It's a special coating they put on it for UV rays and for like screens, like a computer screen, a laptop, or your phones, that blue light that comes through.
It's not good. So let me show you. I'm going to show you my Photoshop.
Yeah, because I find they come out on my picture sometimes. They're either greenish or kind of like a purplish or bluish color, the glare.
Can you see that? My Photoshop?
Yep, I just brought it in.
And there's the same dude, very serious, nice smiles. He's calling this lime green. This is fully retouched, fully finished. This is the raw image. I got to go in and crop it. And he's asking to remove that color hue. Yeah. And I'm like, I can barely notice it, really. Yeah. So,
but it is affecting it. So now, if you have trouble, like I said, what I did, the ones I showed you last week, I sent them to a company called retouchup.com with the glare, and they were able to get rid of it. So you can actually send it to them.
You know, I might do that.
It might cost you like $2 and something cents or $3.
I might do that. American. I've done these myself. I've taken out glare on my own, and the way I would do it myself is go either desaturate it or go in with a brush and paint over it at a different color. But
no, exactly.
But it's, I don't know.
But if you send it to them and just say, all I want is the green coloration out of the glasses. I don't want no skin retouching, no nothing. And that's what they'll do. And
do you think I could send this? This image is finished, except for the issue we're talking about. I could probably just request that, couldn't I?
Yeah, you could. Like I know when I sent mine in, I hadn't done any touch-ups to them yet. I just sent them in first, just to say, here, can you take the glare out of the glasses? Okay. And they did it, but they also did retouching for me without me asking, like a little skin. Yeah. And so when I got it back, I didn't have to do anything because it looked good. And I'm like, you know what, I'm leaving it like that. Unless you send them the file before the touch-up and let them do it all. That's up to you.
Then I'd have to start over again. I don't want to do that. He's already seen the images, and if I get them to retouch it, it's probably going to look drastically different. Maybe it'll look better. Maybe it'll look better, and I'll be like, "Ooh, let's just get them to do all my retouching."
Yeah. No, I'm actually looking at for like schools and things like that. When people order, if it's a lot of stuff, I might just sometimes if I have a lot of them, I'll just send it to them and let them do it all. But I haven't bothered yet because so far they don't take long to do anyway. So.
Well, if anybody else has any other ideas and or solutions or thoughts, just post them in the comments, or if you're watching this on YouTube or in the the YouTube link will be posted in the Facebook group. Put a comment, please, either in the Facebook group or in the comment section on the YouTube.
It is a common thing with a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's not just you.
Well, I've never seen it this bad as far as people saying, "Oh, there's a color U," and I'm like, I never noticed that. And why didn't I notice it last year? Yeah. Is it a new phenomenon, or is it just a coincidence? Or, anyways, either way, I got to do something about it. So,
yeah.
All right, let's talk publicity. What do you think?
Well, it's these days. That's what you got to do, because it's not like the older days. Like, word of mouth is best publicity you can get, of course. But
yeah,
with COVID and things like that, and everything going online, you got to figure out new ways to publicize yourself nowadays, I find. And with all these new mom and pop photographers coming out of the woodwork, I mean, like I said, about 15 years ago when I moved here, there was maybe 4 people in town that were considered professional photographers before I started up in this area. And now, I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 on my street that claim themselves to be a photographer. So you got to now think outside the box on why they should hire you, and let them know that.
All right. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to get to the screen here. I'm trying to show another tab within Chrome. Can you see it? What do you see now?
It looks like it's your Windows thing. It's almost like a contact sheet type.
Okay, that's not what I. That's what I don't like about Zoom or all those things that help us. We're going to stop the share. Share screen, window, StreamYard. Now what do you see?
Now I see. It looks like the NoBS Photo Success website.
All right, and now what do you see?
Now I see writing.
All right, so
and you're scrolling up and up and up.
Good. All right.
Special report. There we go.
So I want to show you guys some images and go through some actual recent publicity strategies that I've got. And it's a topic that I love talking about because it's timeless and it's relevant. Like you had mentioned, John, for us photographers, it's one of the most important things. So there's a lot to it. So I can't really get too deep into it because of the depth of which this topic. I mean, literally, we could spend a day talking about it, and we'd only be touching the surface. So the idea, I want to get the core idea and point you guys into some resources and give you some sort of initial thoughts. So publicity, in my opinion, this was my own sort of take on it, and I mentioned this in this particular replay with Secrets to Publicity. It's a presentation I created back in 2013. So it's like literally, what year are we? 2021?
Here we are, believe
so
it
it's
or not.
8 years old, 9 years old. So, but 99% of it is relevant. And I mentioned stuff in there and in the publicity report, stuff like media releases, which I don't think is a thing anymore. But it doesn't matter. It's the idea that I want you guys to understand. When you're talking about publicity, we're talking about publicity, which I believe is at 3 different levels. The one-on-one, which is word of mouth. You mentioned that. It's the most powerful. Yep. And then there's the second level up from that, where you're going out into your target audience. And then there's mass media publicity. People are drawn to mass media publicity because of the glitz and the glamour. When you get a half-page article written about your photography business in the local newspaper, it's like, whoa, it's powerful. It's credible, and it speaks volumes. However, local newspapers are slowly waning as far as relevance is concerned. And as you know, and as I know, and everyone else watching this knows, it's not as relevant as it used to be. The big media, many big medias are Like people don't watch TV, they don't watch the local news, they don't read the local newspapers the way they used to. And a lot of people joke about it that it's for old people. And it's true, the demographics are shifting.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of older people are just still getting their daily newspaper, but the subscription for newspapers globally has dropped precipitously, probably by 80% so far.
Yeah. Which sucks because I used to love reading the newspaper.
I think the local news is one of the most important information medias and vehicles with which is sadly largely ignored, but it's one with which the large media, you know, Google and whatever, YouTube, can't really touch because it's so local, but it's so relevant to all of us. You want to know what's going on in your community. It's important.
Yeah, when I lived in Brampton growing up and working at Muscle Mag, every morning I grab a Toronto Sun and take it to work with me before I start my shift or on my lunch break and read the sports page because I was a big hockey fan, of course. During the winter, read the sports page. And then basically I'd read the front cover to the back cover. By the end of the day, I'd have it all read. So
You just like the model of the
page 3 girl. I don't know, do they even do that anymore?
I don't know. It's probably politically incorrect.
I haven't seen a Toronto Sun or an Ottawa Sun in probably 20 years.
There you go. So anyway, but my point is that we got 3 levels. To me, the least important is the big media, but it's the one that we're most attracted to because it offers that glitz and glamour, and there's ways around this regardless. And I think blogging, I think social media is really, really important. And I encourage everybody to use social media, get on a strict daily regimen. And I've been doing this for years and years in my photography studio. I post 3 times a day, early morning, early afternoon, late afternoon. And I'll post anything, fairy portrait, a wedding picture, a commercial shoot, medieval day picture, whatever, and I'll find something, and sometimes I'll post something of a local scene, you know, the local high falls in our area, which you'll notice that I've posted, and it goes onto my personal Facebook studio page. It goes to Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest. I'm not sure if I'm forgetting anything, but that's a discipline I get onto because, you know, who Gary Vaynerchuk is, eh?
No idea.
Gary Vaynerchuk is probably the guru of gurus when it comes to social media. I highly recommend you check out his books. Thank You Economy is one of them. And he wrote that book after he wrote his big bestseller, his first one. I can't remember the name. But anyways, he's talks about this. You're getting attention, which is a key component to branding. And I'm going to put that in the middle tier. Okay, I don't want to get into it in too much depth, but if you watch the replay, if you're in the forum, you can watch the replay, Secrets of Publicity presentation. I get into that into great depth. It's an hour and 17 minutes long, and I explain how we have these different levels. And level 1, of course, in the example I use, so somebody comes by and picks up her ferry order, and then the next day, she's having lunch with a good friend of hers, her girlfriend, that she has they have their salad and a bit of wine, and they meet every week practically. That is a common scenario. Our key audience, I think it's the same for you, John. It's largely women.
Yep.
They're the big decision makers.
Very rarely does a guy hire you and want for family portraits, and that's usually the woman hiring you, and then they drag the husbands and kids to the shoot.
So they're having lunch and they're chatting away, and she says, "Yeah, how to go with the ferry shoot with little Emma?" And she says, "Oh, you got to see these pictures." And she has them on her phone because we give them the social media file, and Emma's mom shows them to her best friend. Her best friend is like blown away, and then she says to her, "It was a great experience. Rob and Tina were so much fun, and we just had a blast on our Emma's ferry shoot." And Emma couldn't stop talking about it, and this happened and that happened. That experience and that feedback is absolutely priceless. It's 24 karat gold with diamonds, real diamonds sparkled on top.
Nope, definitely.
Yeah, so that's publicity. And that's the best publicity. Like you mentioned, John, you said word of mouth. And that is how I describe word of mouth. So you have to keep that in mind. And everything you do, I was telling this to my daughter last week because she's building up her graphic design business, sort of side gig right now, but she's working on it. And I said something to her that was told to me by my one of my first jobs, the mom of the who managed the studio that I used to work at, which was a mining industrial photographer. She said to me, she said, your reputation has to be impeccable. And I always remember that. So I told her that, and that's the same thing. And I find a lot of photographers miss out on that as an opportunity to present and give people something to talk about, so that when they go to their friends and relatives and family and neighbors and they tell the story of the experience they had with you as your photography studio business is concerned. Powerful stuff. Now I want to mention one other thing, and I've mentioned this in this replay video that you see on the screen. And that is that publicity, branding, your brand at its very core root, organically, is all linked to publicity. Whether it's word of mouth, whether it's social media, or whether it's big media.
Yep.
This is important to understand. So,
very true.
So us as photographers who are serious about growing our photography businesses as a responsible, committed, long-term photography studio within the community, we have to get a deep understanding of this. And I think it's absolutely one of the most powerful strategies that we can use and implement. So there's no room for excuses. There's no room for being shy or saying stuff like, oh, I could never do that. I can't stand getting up in front of people. I could never do that. I'm going to offend somebody if I post pictures from a wedding or whatever. There's just all these excuses, which are really just fear-based. And
exactly. Everything's in my contract anyways. If somebody signs a contract with me, it says that by signing this, you know that I own the copyright and I can use them for any publicity that I want to use it for.
Yeah.
Or anybody I give permission to use it for.
So that's how you take care of it logistically, so that you have the ability to take those images and share them for the benefit of pushing your brand.
Exactly. Now, there are some times where some people don't want you, and it's like, well, I have enough that don't worry about it. Like, I still need you to sign this, but I'll put a mark in my thing there that not to use these photographs because I've got enough of those to use. Don't worry about it.
So John, if somebody says to you, John, I appreciate where you're coming from. I get it, and I'll sign it, but I really don't want my stuff out there. You're going to honor them, right?
Exactly. And it's customer service. I mean, on top of publicity, customer service and publicity go hand in hand. I mean, if you have terrible customer service, you're not going to get a lot of publicity. And if you're not going to get a lot of publicity, people aren't going to come to you. So give them that customer service. If you've been in business a long time, then you're not going to have to worry about if they don't want to use those images. And I had that with a wedding once, but I had it in the contract where I had signed off on it that I wouldn't use the images. And the problem was I ended up getting some fantastic wedding images that I would have liked to have used for my own publicity, and I couldn't use any of them because before the wedding on the contract, we had crossed it off and both initialed that I wouldn't use it.
Yeah.
And
for
so
whatever
after that,
reason, right?
Yeah. And so after that, it's like, you know what? I'm not doing that anymore because if they don't want me to sign my contract the way it is, then I'll have to direct them to another photographer because this is my contract and I want to be covered because if I get some good shots, I want to be able to use them. And most people understand that and they're fine with that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, well, it's smart.
especially when you're first starting out.
So you have to, especially, you have to push hard to promote your studio and be aware of the 3 levels and the importance and power of publicity and how it builds your brand. So, I mean, it's totally different than doing an offer. When I do an offer, say for a fairy day, and I put together my promotional strategies, which I'm not going to get into now, but if you've heard me talk about this, I often talk about how we pretty much at this time only use Facebook ads. But when we started out, we'd go to gymnastics places and dance schools, and we'd bring 4x6 cards and promotional materials that they can hand out to all their clients. So we do that kind of affiliation marketing strategy, and there's a lot of ways with which to promote a promotion. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about building your brand so that you're buying space in the minds and hearts of those within your community. I think we mentioned this last week, John.
It's quite possible.
You cast a net out, you talk to 100 random people in your town, and you ask them, what do you think of when you think of photography studios? You want your name to come up at least 3/4 of the time,
Very true.
even if they've never used you.
And I luck out that way, and I'm not, like I told you before when we've talked about this offline, is that it's not us trying to toot our own horn, but your whole goal is to get that kind of reputation. And I know in my area, if you went to anybody through Pembroke, Petawawa, Laurentian Valley that's been here for a while, and they say, give me the name of 3 photographers in your area, I'm going to be one of those 3 that comes up every time, because I've
That's what you want.
publicized myself enough. As I do a lot of charity work, I volunteer, I get in front of the public, I do my stupid, crazy little live videos all the time to get out there, and I'm not afraid to put myself out there, and it goes a long way, because then when somebody's looking for a photographer, your goal is that as soon as somebody says, oh, I should get some photos done, or I need it, you're one of the first names that comes up.
Exactly.
Here, give this guy a call, because
Exactly.
I hear about him all the time. He must be good.
Yeah, you want to establish that credibility even if they've never. So very important to understand the power of publicity. And I have that special report I wrote back around the same time. I don't know how many pages long it is. Maybe it's 50 pages long. I talk about it and go into it in great depth. I don't want anybody to go, well, you're talking about press releases. People don't really use press releases anymore. Well, if you have a story worthy of the local big media press, it's probably easier than ever. You used to have to mail in or fax in a press release.
Yep.
An official press. I don't know that you need to anymore. We had a huge building downtown dedicated to our local newspaper. Now they have an office they're renting. It's like 800 square feet, and they're not even open half the week. They're on very limited hours. So, that kind of media has changed so much.
Yep.
But if you want to go to radio station, TV station, or newspaper or whatever, you probably would be able to find out who the key person is. You can call them or email them. You probably find them on LinkedIn.
I deal with that here. I have one of the radio stations here that I'm good with 3 of the DJs and the news guy, and I'm also know the general manager really well. And so we do a lot of charity work together. And
So
I
John,
take advantage of that if I can.
So if you had an issue or a promotion or some good news that's community relevant, you wouldn't be doing a press release. You'd probably contact them direct because, hey, they know you.
Yeah, exactly. And then, no, not necessarily I'm going to get everything for free, but like even during this COVID thing, they sent out an email to all the different businesses they know in here and said, hey, we're going to give you a free spot so many times for the next couple months a week, where all you need to do is on your laptop or your phone, whatever, just record yourself. And they gave a bunch of different templates you can go by, or you can make up your own, basically just thanking the public for shopping local. So I did one myself, and I just did it like this. I just set up my microphone, and I just walked into it, and it was like, hi, it's John from John A. Butler Photography. On behalf of all of us here, we'd like to thank all the people throughout the Ottawa Valley for helping to shop local. And that's been being played. It wasn't word for word like that, but it was that kind of idea.
I get it, yeah.
And I've heard it at least a couple times myself over the last 2 months being played, and they played different spots from different ones, and that was free. They weren't charging us for that.
Yeah.
Why not take advantage of something like that?
There's a lot of things that somebody can do. Can you see my screen?
I can. I just haven't brought in because I didn't know when you wanted it brought in.
Okay, I'm going to touch on this real quick, and then I want to go to my samples before we run out of time. Let me know when you can see it.
Oh, I can. It's up there now.
All branding has its roots in publicity. And this is one of the pages in that guide. Publicity, like I mentioned, they're layered into 3 levels. 1, person to person. This is the most heartfelt and deepest reaching form of communication, also known as word of mouth. Number 2, community. Reach out and get active in your community. This is vital, and you will find endless variety of publicity opportunities. In community, I'm going to put social media. Okay. 3, big media. I talked about that. It's the granddaddy of publicity. And in here I mentioned, don't forget step 1. Without a strong experience in product publicity, that level will only take you halfway there. I also mentioned read The Fall of Advertising and the Rise of PR by Al and Laura Rice. This book is amazing. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's one of those books that literally every second page I cornered and I wrote in and I put Post-its on it. Watch the video presentation, which I have in the forum on publicity. and create a plan. After reading this report and watching the video, start gathering ideas, create an idea file, gather, search, hunt out, brainstorm ideas that you can use for your photography studio. Publicity is the lifeblood of marketing, is one of the most potent forces that you could use to grow, maintain, and create long-term prosperity. Use it and understand it. So, having said that, can you see my screen now? Did I... Yeah, you can't see it. Okay, I think I have to go stop share, and then I gotta go back. Can you hear me, Johnny? Johnny, you're muted.
I knew that. I was just testing you.
All right. Can you see my screen now?
Yep, we got like your files there.
Okay. Publicity, the tentacles of publicity, besides the 3 layers and levels that I talked about, you can branch them off into sub areas, like when people come into your place, the experience. What do they see, feel, hear, and smell? This is important. It ties into publicity because it's part of the experience. So you could see down here in the bottom. Did that show up?
It still shows the files, but on the right-hand side, you can see the picture.
Okay, that's a picture of the front of
Small.
my studio. We painted the whole building black, and I put flowers, and I have 3 windows right over here. Can you see my cursor?
Let me move it around.
It's moving.
No, because
damn.
we're not seeing the picture by itself. You still got all that files? Yeah, you have to share that picture by itself.
Oh, I wish they would fix that.
I know I've been on them on a couple things to fix. They will eventually. There, now I can see it. Okay, we're good. Yeah, now we just see the picture of your
Yeah.
studio.
This is from a couple of years ago. It's actually much better now. Constantly working on it. We have
I see your cursor too.
lots and lots of flowers. When people come in, I want them to get a warm, fuzzy feeling. I got the 3 windows over here. This window here's got our logo. This window here's got a picture. Sorry, this is the neighbors. This was a pizza shop. Here's the logo, and there's 2 big picture windows with pictures and our logo, as you can see in the bottom. So when they come in, they see a lot of photographs of our best work. Can you see that? Am I switching okay?
Yep.
Okay,
switching
good.
Fine.
So I'll just go through this quick. There's Tina in our sales area. We're limited in space. Our studio total is about 900 square feet. But, you know, it looks clean. It smells good. And they always hear really, really nice music when they come in. So I don't like AM radio with a country station. I can't stand that. Yeah, and this is the backside of the building facing our main artery. Can you see it?
Wait, well, you again, you got it. You got your files showing again. You got to show that picture by itself.
I did. I got to click stop share, window. There it is.
All right, now we see it. Yep.
If anybody wants to team up and create a Zoom program app which will solve all these problems, talk to me. I'm in.
Yeah, exactly. We'll both be in. We'll help you with it, and then we'll just edit it out to everybody.
So this is the back of the building. Our daughter did this mural 3-4 years ago. Paid her like $400 to do it. It's massive. So it's just, we're doing some, this is community. This is a community art piece. It's got to do with the Italian heritage, because in the West End where we have our studio, there's a lot of Italians that moved here generations ago, and it's got so she, you know, it's called Esperanza, and it's just commemorative to that. We still use direct mail, as you can see. You can see that, right, Johnny?
I sure can.
Okay, cool.
And that's the thing too. People think direct mail is out, but direct mail. I mean, look at real estate agents and everything. How many times you see those door knockers in your
Yep.
mail, things like that? If it didn't work, they wouldn't still be doing it. But obviously,
That's
it's
true.
working.
Oh, I got to read you something. We got a email. Somebody picked up her fairy portraits
Okay.
yesterday,
Yeah.
and I did her wedding 6-7 years ago, and she has 2 little girls now.
Okay.
She picked up, and I noticed, well, we're friends on Facebook, but I noticed she took the social media file and posted it and get all kinds of comments. So I love that kind of stuff. So she sent me a private text. She said, "Thank you so much for the fairy pictures," like 4 exclamation marks. I am obsessed with them. you do amazing work. And so that's a really good testimonial. And that's a really good comment. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about, really.
Definitely.
You want to get that kind of reaction, so.
I'm just looking through my files here, too, while you're doing that to see if I can show some stuff for Publicity, too.
Can you see my folders?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I just brought them in for you. Now I see a whole strip of pictures on top. And now you just opened up, and I can see them now. When you open these up, you might have to show them separately.
Yeah, I know. Drives me nuts. I'm not going to. As long as you can see the thumbnails are big enough, I want to get the idea across to you.
Definitely.
And that is that this was a promotion I created. It's called In Living Color. It's different color backdrops, very bright for children. And we used Facebook to promote it, and we use Facebook ads. I mentioned that earlier, that it's one of our most powerful strategies for promoting is social media. And besides using it as a branding tool, using it as a promotional tool. I just wanted to touch on that, just to sort of give the people an overview on that. So can you or can you not see this violin player? Full screen. Not
full screen. He's on the right.
I'm getting used to this.
Yeah, you're getting used to it now.
All right. So and again, I'm going to touch on this really quick. We do a lot of work, and I've been doing a lot of work since the late 90s with the local symphony. We got a lot of branding and publicity through them, like a ton. And there's actually from years ago, the whole symphony. And I'm going to scatter around a bit. So, we go to Costa Rica quite a bit. And I always wanted to photograph the fire guys, and I got to know them about 6 years ago. I photographed this. And with the idea that I'm going to create some pretty awesome local publicity, because the fire guys, they do a lot of events. They're well known, and I want to be in tight with them. Plus, I want to get an awesome shot for my portfolio. That's what that is. And I've done several shoots with them, with another one planned when we go back to Costa Rica, because I got to know the owner. The owner is this guy. You can see my cursor.
Yep.
Yeah, that's him there, Luis. And
they're all shot together. They're not shot separately. And
this is one shot at sunset. Tina's in the picture. She's in the background. You can see the light coming around. She's hand holding a small flash, and then I have two flashes on stands cutting across. So it's a very dynamic shot. And so if you're into portfolio building as well as wanting to get into publicity, this is an idea worth considering. Go into your area and build up that brand. Who is it? Was it Robert Bray we recently had? Remember 5-6 weeks ago? He's also a member of Headshot Crew, and he said he sent out 10 contacts to 10 big players in his community and offered them a free executive portrait shoot.
I could be wrong, but I think that was Robert Noel.
No, that's right. So that's the same idea, right?
Same idea.
I do a lot of work with the local Montessori. I do a lot. This is for one of the bigger dental practices in our city. And this was a paid gig, but this is like a 50 by 50 inch canvas. I did the same thing when these children were much younger, 8 or 9 years ago, and they have that one still on their wall. But I think you're going to see that one momentarily. So it's all the children of all the moms and dentists and hygienists and what have you who work at this dental office. Okay. And when you go into their waiting area, this is what you see. So I've done work for local dance competitions like ballroom dancing. I didn't get paid. I got paid for this, by the way. But you get a lot of publicity from that. That kind of thing, even though it's a paid gig. But, the local ballroom dancing thing that I started the photograph, I get an ad because the owner owns the real estate magazine. So I got a full page ad. Why not? Trade, man.
No, exactly.
Great way to cross connect events. You get event photography, you get publicity through that, and you can negotiate a full page ad. There I am
I'm just going to plug my laptop in while you're talking. I can hear you though.
Okay, cool. This was a couple of years ago. I decided in November, there's a lot of craft shows at a lot of schools, high schools, grade schools. They get thousands and thousands of people going through. So we put a display up, and I love displays. I've been doing them since the 80s, and I have no end in sight insofar as using displays. Displays is one of the best publicity building tools you can use. I just photographed the local Chamber of Commerce. It's sponsored by Bell Telephone. Awards, business awards. What you're looking at here is from 2018. Tina and I, my wife, we were nominated. There we are. We were nominated for Small Enterprise. We didn't win, but it was a great publicity thing. These guys, Cup of Joe Espresso Bar, won. And it was kind of cool to go there. And there I am, full screen, in front of hundreds and hundreds of people. They show a video of me talking about our business. And this was from the same event a couple of years prior. And what I did for this event, like this is, I forget her first name. Her last name is Hasty. She owns a business in town. These guys here own a business. This guy right here is him right here. They have a restaurant. They won an award. She won an award. And we were just there as participants. We were just there as attendees. Had supper, watched a show. And I decided to take snapshots with my little point and shoot because I bring it with me everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I sent them congratulations in the mail.
Which is probably something they don't get these days, and it was probably a surprise. Did you use just your own little thing, or did you use something like send-out cards or something?
Back then, I used send-out cards. Mm-hmm. Now I use. Can you see my my webcam?
I see your camera. Yeah.
So I have these. I have a stack of cards with a picture I shot years ago. It's a scenic shot. Mm-hmm. I have them right here, handy, ready to go, whenever I need to send somebody out a thank you card or congratulations. So, anyways, the Chamber of Commerce, they asked us if we would photograph the awards, and they wanted a quote and whatnot, and we said sure, and we gave them a quote, and they said yes. So I was there last weekend. John, I don't know if you noticed, I did a video of that, 11 minutes.
Yes, I did see the video, actually, of you walking around with your mask on and off.
Yeah, it was really cool to be in an event where there's 200 people, and they're all happy, dressed up. Mm-hmm. And so I was hired to photograph the group, the award winners, and I did something similar to that 8 or 9 years ago, and I brought a backdrop. And this time I brought a backdrop, but I thought maybe I won't use it. I'll use the curtains. See the curtains? And this is one of the organizers. And then I put so there's a back light, you can see it, and there's a pink gel on the backlight. You can see the alien
was
deer.
Was the curtain black or was it blue originally?
I think it's blue.
It looks blue. I guess when you put the pink on it, that's what made it purple.
Okay. Yeah, this is
purple to me.
Clean light, so it's blue, and there's the final results.
Awesome.
There's the setup. I use the 84-inch, and I have a 55 mil on the Sony right here, and there's a kicker light right here, and that's my lighting scenario. So I think this is important. It's a silly little thing, but I'm going to mention it. I put the 3X's on there because people will go and stand right up against the curtain. I want to save time, so they get their reward. One of the people, the organizers, the young ladies, takes them and says, "Follow us. We're going to go take your picture." And boom, 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 and we're done. And there's the scene. See my...
yeah, I remember you were telling me about that.
I think I fixed it. I think it's just a card reader. I bought a new card reader. It seems to be gone. So there's the final result. This is straight off camera. You can see a bit of something over here.
That's easy cloned out.
Yeah. I've done work with United Way a couple of years ago, photographed a board, and I just told them, I said, look, instead of trying to, they wanted to do a group shot at 7 in the morning in a tiny little area where they were meeting in a boardroom. I'm like, how am I going to photograph that many people? So why don't you just send everybody in individually?
Yep.
And that's what we did.
Good job.
We do a lot of work with the local 50 Plus Lifestyle magazine. A couple of years ago, we did the cancer thing, Survivor. We didn't get paid, but we get a lot of coverage, and I get ads. So this was a pretty cool event. Yeah. This was a really cool event. And they had a gala affair tied in with it, and I did a slideshow for them. And here's the half-page ad that we got. See?
Very cool.
And so they wanted to do something really bold and brassy. So they wanted to bare their boobs. And they almost used this picture in the front cover of the magazine, but they decided against that. But so this was part of the slideshow, and man, you should have seen the applause that we got.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen other people do shoots like that too, and it almost hard not to have a tear in your eye when you leave. So
Crazy powerful.
Yeah.
So, and anyways, when they showed up, I wasn't sure what this was going to be, and they showed up, and I could hear them in the front area, and my wife was talking to them, and then I walked out, and they're all walking around topless. I'm like, oh my god, Jesus! You didn't care, right? They were all cool. I forget why I put this in there. I've shot her picture, and I don't know why I put that in there. And I've shot that picture. Maybe it's the same magazine. These are all pictures I've done. So, but anyways, here's a picture from a long, long, long time ago. Sudbury Toastmasters.
Look how young you are there.
I know, I had lots of hair too. I was a president of Sudbury Toastmasters, and I created this award for this guy. And he just died last winter, sadly. He was like 96 years old. He was still going to Toastmasters.
96.
So in Costa Rica, there's an annual blues festival, and I would photograph it on my own. And then the organizers 3-4 years ago contacted me, and she was like, "Oh, I really like your pictures. Do you wanna be our official photographer?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And so we worked out a deal. And I know that it's a nonprofit, so I don't want to charge them, and I want the coverage, and I want to. So I said, "Give me 4 free tickets." The tickets are like $50 each. And 2 meal tickets and a bottle of wine for my wife. I'm happy with that. I would have gone anyways, and I would have photographed it anyways, but don't tell them that.
No, exactly.
And I love the blues.
Yep.
So anything that is event related where a large part of your target audience is going to be, I always try and discourage people from going and doing stuff like this and where there's absolutely no connection to their target audience. I mean, you could do it as a passion project.
Sure.
But don't expect a whole lot of results. With these guys, the people who go to this are mostly expats and tourists, people who are there for 2-3 months a year, or they have a place there. And they're pretty much, they're well-to-do people, you can tell. They're from all over North America. And these bands, like this guy here's from Pittsburgh, he's a famous blues player, and they bring these guys in, and so it's a top-notch event. I mentioned earlier we do displays, and this was a bridal show we did a couple of years ago, and because we're promoting the pop-up weddings, and we were right in the front because all the main booths were taken, so I said, I'll take whatever you can give me, and it was cost less anyways. But here's the thing, it ended up being, in my opinion, the best spot, because everybody came walking in. We were the first table they saw, so we got slammed with inquiries, and everybody asked the same question: what's a pop-up wedding?
Yeah.
So I had to explain it to you, and we had some handouts. This is something we started last year. We were asked by the local, we have a doctor's college, university, med school, and they wanted to offer a gift for new doctors who are relocating, so we gave them this, and so it's a gift card. It's a complimentary session.
Okay.
Great way to get publicity. There's
Definitely.
the dental office I was showing you from earlier. This was like 11 years ago, and here's United Way. I went there to get an award. Here's a local travel company where I spoke at a local they had a one-day conference, expo they called it, from 11 a.m. to 3. And there I am. Okay, so these are the key speakers. I was one of them. Parents Magazine, we do a lot of work with them. We get free ads. And also, this was really cool. The local podiatrist, so foot doctor lady, said, I want to do a book, and I want to give the book, I want it like a coffee table book to give out to all the doctors who refer us. And can you photograph the trails for me? So I did. No charge. I went around, I photographed all the trails. And so it's a picture book with all my photography. So
I think you said it was one of the first times you were doing HDR, if I'm not mistaken.
You remember that? I was going to mention that. I didn't think you'd remember. But yeah, it's HDR. It's the Nikon D800, which does... I don't know if it was... You shoot and bracket and then you combine later. I don't know, but that was the original HDR.
Yeah.
But the 800.
That's how it is. You usually shoot it and then you combine it later online.
Yeah. Well, the Sony's now and the Nikon D800 has that facility built in. This is a very, very popular restaurant in our town, and we do a lot of work for them, and we've had displays there for years and 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 years. Very well respected, very well known, and good place to get access. So this is just an event, Man Tracker. I was on Man Tracker and down in Utah with my buddy Mike, and got a lot of coverage from that. We got newspaper coverage. We got interviewed on the radio station, and it was a lot of blog posts too. So, this creates a buzz. And although it's been a while now, this was 2011. If you can do stuff like this, if you can get on a TV show or whatever, publicity,
Any publicity
man.
is good publicity, as they say.
Yeah. So there I am at another awards banquet, and this other photographer took a picture of me, and there I am holding my camera. I have my little Canon, whatever it's called, G12 or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know which one you're talking about. Little point and shoot. I want to get one of those little guys.
This is Toastmasters just before COVID. I'm still involved at Toastmasters, and there I am right there. This was a training up thing that we had, and there's a lot of stuff that you can do in your community to get involved with and to get extra publicity. It's all very, very powerful stuff. Did you have something you wanted to show?
I can show some stuff if you want to do with publicity wise.
We got about 8 or 9 minutes, and we can touch on that.
I can do it in that. Yeah, definitely. I can bring in some stuff here. Let's see what we got here. Let's share. Go into my Chrome tab. And why is it not? Oh, there we go. It's in the Windows. Okay, share. There, you should be able to see my outside of my studio there.
Let me look. There it is.
So this was one thing I came up with about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year I had this sign made up, and it's right at the front end. You've been here before, but that's right one of the main streets in this area that goes right from Pembroke all the way through into
I'm going to
Petawawa,
say
right to
it is the main street.
It is the main street. It goes from base on Petawawa, Canadian Air Base or military base, all the way through Petawawa, Laurentian Valley, Pembroke, all the way, and then curls back around onto Highway 17. And so I put this sign out there, and I want to say it's probably around 2 feet by about 3 feet high, maybe. And I now get people calling me all the time saying, "Oh, I was driving by, I saw your sign. I didn't know you do passports. When can I make an appointment?" And it's been like one of the biggest things for me, even though we don't make tons and tons of cash on passports, but it does bring in some income, and it gets people in your studio that might not have known that you were there to begin with.
Yeah.
And then they get in there, and when they do, I don't know if they, where is it here? I have a couple here that I want to show. That's not them, though. And then when they come in the studio, this is what they see first.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come in, they're greeted by, I don't have the shirts there in the front anymore. I should actually put some more out there when I get more.
A big giant teddy bear.
Big giant teddy bear wearing one of my shirts. I have big prints, as you can see, and big canvases on my wall. They're all 20 by 30 inch canvases and prints on there. So they're greeted by that. They're also greeted, if you can see my cursor there, these little awards that are like Chamber of Commerce awards.
Right.
So it sort of puts credibility in there a little bit. It's got my little tag there for BNI, saying I'm a current member of BNI, which is a networking group, of course. Everybody talks about this little stick figure guy that we have here that's made out of tree wood that this guy locally does. And then now there's just magazines in there, but you can, right now, if you're going to my studio, I actually have 3 albums on my table there now where those magazines are, which are ones of my work from Album to Polka.
Yeah.
And so I have one that's a family album portrait. I have one that's for my pinups, which I'll show you in a second. And then I have one that has from my Christmas special that I did, which is an 8x8 album of polka event book, and they sit in the front. Now, one thing I'm going to try to do, and I think it's a great idea, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but on when we were over at Maggie's studio in Oakville a couple years ago doing that marketing seminar that you guys were doing,
Yeah.
she has album polka books made once a year. They're called annuals.
Yeah.
That she does of her own stuff, things that she did throughout the year, pictures of her at different events, pictures of that she's taken, and almost like a newsletter type thing, but it's made into a book of a year in review of
Yeah.
of her studio. And
forgot
think
about
that's a fantastic idea, because people come in, they can go flip through these, or you go to different trade shows, you can have these out there so people can see who you are and what you do. I think that's a fantastic idea.
I was going to mention Maggie, but
Yeah. And
yeah.
then there's another thing that was a big publicity for me. I don't know if you can see that or not, but these were local T-shirts that we had made up.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the black ones were both in the normal T-shirt style and in a women's style. So it had that little tapering to it.
Yeah.
The ones on the right that are like that darker teal, it was called Heather Teal, those were the regular T-shirt style. And the ones on the left were the brighter teal, were the women's cut also, because they didn't come in that other color. And teal is our company colors. But I had a lot of people, which if I show you, there's a big publicity right there for you. We had people,
Nice.
sorry about that,
love
buying
it.
our shirts from us because we were selling them for $20 or whatever, 25
Right.
bucks I think it was. People
Right.
were buying them and then wearing them, and then they would take pictures of them wearing them and send them to me that I could use for publicity.
I love it, John.
So the top left is my daughter wearing a shirt, and my wife on the bottom left. It's one of the only times you'll probably see my wife on here. And then my friend who's a business owner herself, and I'm actually, funny thing I say that, if you look here, it says Inner Strength on my shirt. That's her business. I'm actually wearing
Nice.
one of her shirts right now. So
Nice.
we cross promote. This is another gentleman that works out. He was wearing it. My buddy Dave from my John and Dave TV, he bought a shirt off me. And these are two personal trainer and business owner of a gym locally that were wearing my shirts. And they posted
Cool.
these on their websites. So that's a big publicity thing right there. You're talking about trade shows. That's one
Yeah.
of my trade show displays for my pinups.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like this little backdrop that was made up. That's like a red carpet backdrop with both my logo and my pinups logo.
Nice.
And then I have a TV screen playing my video from a behind the scenes of one of my
Yeah.
pinup
yeah.
shoots.
I think I've seen that video before.
It's on, yeah, and I have the new one coming out probably at the end of this month or early October that was shot back in November that we're finally getting out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have samples, images from my pinups there. Big thing that helps me out. This was a thing just before the pandemic happened. We were starting, and we've had to put on hold until we can finally get able to do stuff like this. But we're starting to offer my studio for birthday parties.
Nice.
And we have where you can decorate yourself, or you can have my decorator come in for just another extra fee, and she'll decorate it all
Yeah.
nice for you. So this was in my studio. Actually, where I'm sitting right now, to the left of me is where this table was.
Uh-huh.
And we set up two of my 6-foot tables together. She came and put the tablecloths on it, made it all nice and decorated. Decorated right now where this cursor is. If you can see my cursor moving,
Yep.
that's the entrance to my hallway, and I'm sitting right here right now talking to you guys.
Nice.
And so she decorated that. We have another table off to the side behind me here where we had the gift table and the cake table where they put the cake and everything. They bring their own food because we don't want to deal with allergies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a photo party. So we actually have my white backdrop set up with some lights. And later on in the day, they all come to the change room. They all get dressed all fancy if they want, put glasses on, put boas on. They can do whatever they want. And then they come and we take a picture of the birthday person with each of their guests separately.
Mm-hmm.
And then we take a picture of a whole group shot. And then we just say, okay, do you guys want to have some fun and do some other group shots? And they all come in here and do different small groups. And we do for like a half an hour to an hour of shooting with them. And when they go home, they get to take home 2 4x6 print for each guest. They get a group shot,
Uh-huh.
and they get one of them with the birthday person.
You print on
And-
the spot.
We print on the spot because we have our little location printer there. And so my
Yeah.
wife, while we're doing the party and that, she'll take the photos into the room there and get it all set up, pick out the best one, make sure they're touch up nice, print them out. And before the child leaves that day, they take 2 prints home with them as a gift.
Love it.
So we were trying to do this, and we did have a couple booked, and then we had to shut them down because they had it booked for last summer, and then of course March hit and everything shut down, and we had to cancel those parties at the time. So, but it's a
Okay.
thing we're going to bring back though, because I think it's a great idea, and it brings people in your studio.
Yeah. Cool.
There's my backdrop again.
And you have a red carpet too, don't you?
I have my red carpet. You can see in that picture there. So that's
Yeah.
my red carpet I do sometimes. And then if I go this way quickly, there's some of my display there with my pinups.
Hey, when you do your Christmas special, do you
Yep.
promote that out in the front of
I
yours?
do, and I have that ready for you quickly here too. I know you got to go, but I'll quickly show that to you. I'm trying to see if I can get you into my Facebook page here.
When we talk about signage out in front of your studio and what have you, it's sort of linked to publicity, not as directly as the other stuff we talked about. However, it's relevant.
Exactly. I don't know if you can see my Facebook page there.
Yep.
This was an event page I made last year, and I'm going to be doing another one soon for this year's. This was our Christmas special. So we had our setup done, and I actually had a family friend of mine who owns a business, this guy here, and I brought his family, and I shot their wedding about 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have 3 kids, and so I brought them in as my sample family.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Cool.
had the setup done, brought them in, did some sample shots, and then we had the whole thing made up here with all the rules and everything. Basically stole a lot of from your fairy portrait right
Oh,
up.
cool. Well, it's
And
a
then-
good format to use.
I borrowed it from you.
It's all
And then
good.
if you go to the discussion page, there was the advertisement we were sending out by emails to everybody.
Nice.
And I don't
Christmas
have it here.
minis.
I'd have to play it another one. But I also did a video where I actually sat in that set before that family was
I
there.
saw that video.
And I had my friend Dave edit it for me. And I just said, hey, I'm standing here on my set and we're going to do our Christmas patch, blah, blah, blah. And I sent that out there and everybody loved it. It was that more interactive and it was more personal.
Did you
And
live
people
stream
loved
that through Facebook, or did you
No,
just
I
put
just
it?
recorded it. And then
and
I
you-
sent it to
all
him
right.
and said, here, put music to it, put a title slide, put this at the end, and
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And he did it. And it came out. Now I could play it for you another time when we're on here.
Yeah.
But,
Well, we'll do
I'll
that
play
next week. Or next week we have John Rashford.
Cool.
You want to talk about publicity, man? John Rashford. He, years ago, 15 years ago or so, was at an event. He always dresses real funky.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody at the premiere of I think, Nova Scotia, where he's from, caught his attention. Was like, who is that guy? And because they were looking to promote businesses. You know when you go to the movies, and they used to do that, but I don't think they do it now, where they promote your province, and then they'll promote, in his province, they were promoting, hey, look at John, he moved back, and he started his business, and he's rocking it.
Oh,
So he got one of those at that level that the province paid for, shot him, produced it, and played it in all the local theaters for like whatever, 6 months. And that's publicity. He does a lot of other stuff like Maggie. He does event driven stuff, which is sort of publicity, not sort of, 100% publicity driven. And he's going to come next week and talk about what he's been up to lately.
Very cool.
Yeah, I really like John. I like his passion. I like his conviction, and I like his story. And yeah, more on that later. So yeah, I got to run because I got to set up. I got to shoot in 23 minutes or so.
Yep. I got to set up for a shoot for tomorrow. I got a headshot to do tomorrow and Friday morning. So
Hopefully this has been useful to anybody watching this. And I will download and put it in the YouTube and post it, the replay, in the Facebook group.
And then we got some guests getting lined up for the future. I was talking to you the other day about
Yeah,
one that I
exciting
got, and
news, man.
I sent it to the email to his wife, like he asked me to, and to get it all. I'm just waiting to hear back from them now. But he's very excited, and she's actually a good guest to have separately herself too, because she doesn't only. I think she helps him photography wise, but she also is a lot to do when it comes to his business sale, like a.
And we're
sales
talking
cards.
about who again?
Mr. Sal Sinkata.
Big name.
Big wedding photographer and portrait photographer and senior portrait photographer out of, he's got a couple locations, I think St. Louis, New York, and another one. And, but yeah, his wife Alyssa too. She does a lot of publicity and sales for him and is on all his shoots and helps him as an assistant. And I don't know if she actually shoots or not. She might, I don't know.
We'll find out.
But yeah, hopefully we can get them on soon
'Kay.
because he's already said he's interested.
Alrighty.
So, and we're
Thanks,
working on
Johnny.
some others. All right. We'll
All right,
talk
remember
to
everybody,
everyone later.
success is your duty.
Exactly.
That's my new slogan. You can see it right there.
There you go. Too bad we couldn't zoom in. All right. So we'll say goodbye to everybody, and we'll see them next week.
Thanks, Johnny. Take care.